Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Devil's Advocate Trades Edition. Today with me is Chris Miller, and he is in the asphalt world. Thanks for joining us, Chris.
Thanks, Lisa. It's great to be here. Maybe I can just give the listeners a real quick rundown on where we sit in that kind of broad asphalt business.
Okay.
We specifically do infrared repair. In our opinion, it's cheaper to repair than it is to replace. And if you're going to do repairs, you may as well spend money on repairs that are going to last. So our patented made in Alberta technology is going to get people far better repairs that last far longer than traditional methods that people use these days.
I love that. I'm in Alberta. I wish you guys were in Calgary, but you guys are in Edmonton. So I'm going to have to come out and do more work in Edmonton. Like, oh darn, right? Because you being in that space, and as I've kind of talked to you guys about, I'm a construction consultant inside the condo world. And condos are huge on quick repairs, quick Band-Aids, but they want them to last, and none of them ever do. There's always something going on with condo roadways. So asphalt is a big business for condominiums. And it's hard to find good companies that have good products. So that's amazing.
For me, on that specifically, I guess two things. First of all, let the cat out of the bag here that we're going to be in Calgary next year officially. We've been doing a few little bits and pieces down there this summer. But no, with condos, like these are people's homes. Often decisions are being made by a group that might not include everybody. So, there can be kind of hurt feelings and people who get bent out of shape and bills that can get, well into 5 or even 6 figures if you're talking about full replacement of asphalt, right? So we were on a site today and, there was a couple of things they wanted to add last minute. We're facing the same, like we're obviously cooperating with the client, but we're seeing what they're dealing with firsthand, which is, trying to build a consensus to spend additional money and to make sure that there's value there. So, we were just getting things added on as the client went through because it was the first time they'd ever used infrared, and they have, as I'm sure you've seen, like a really poor taste in their mouth from prior asphalt experience in terms of people doing really poor tack and pack style repairs or what have you, cutouts that didn't really work. And so once they saw, the difference, they, brought the board together, built a consensus and just started adding repairs because they could see that it was going to last.
Yeah. So go through the infrared aspect because I don't think everybody knows about it. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know too much about it. It's the first I've ever heard of it.
It's really, the thing for me, and we were at a large grocery chain yesterday, just looking at a nearby business, and I noticed some repairs going on there, and it was from a traditional, asphalt repair company. And so there's like all these people on the site, there's all this stuff going on, and, it was a very busy place, right? And so one of the things about the way we do things is that we have one large truck. It comes with a trailer that has a roller and some other tools and whatnot on it. But it's only 2 technicians in that truck, and they can fix, a 7x5. We heat 8x6, but they repair 7x5 area within 25 kind of minutes. So they're able to move through a site quite quickly, and we end up doing a lot of drive-throughs and stuff like that because of the the lack of impact, I guess, to the business, like far, less impact. But the concept is they come in, we have a 6x8 panel that gets lowered down from the truck onto the asphalt. We heat it up, at 1600 degrees Fahrenheit or what have you, because the bitumen's still in asphalt that's sitting on the ground. And so we are able to essentially reheat the liquid that's in there. And once that's happened, it's malleable. And so the guys with specialized rakes and other tools are able to manipulate the material. They bring fresh asphalt with them. But, unlike a paving company or whatever, we're not bringing in dump trucks of asphalt. We've got 4 tons on the truck, and they spread it. There's a little bit of fine tuning because those guys are kind of, there's a bit of an art as well as a science to it to make sure things drain and whatnot. And then once the material's placed, they roll it, and it's the only thing you'd notice is that it looks like brand new next to your older asphalt. So it's fantastic. Uses way less material, way less vehicles, way less people, way less impact to the business, and we can roll through sites pretty quickly.
Okay. But like the infrared itself, so it's like, how does that work? Because are you just using like the red, like, so that it's like adhering to something? Like it's just heating it up?
So the panel comes down onto the surface,
Okay.
and there's tubes which emit infrared rays, and they just penetrate usually 2 to 3 inches, depending on what type of mix was used previously and the size of the aggregate and whatever, into the asphalt. And it's, you know, I want to make it sound fancier than that, but it's kind of the gist of it right there.
No, you know what I love about it is that there's just a part of me, because I'm such a natural, like I do a lot of naturopathic aspects for my like healing journey and my health journey, my wellness journey. And so when you talk about infrared, I'm like, it's just helping everywhere.
It really is, you know. I don't know if you can get a tan from it. I haven't, you know, tried to stand in front of it for a long time because it's pretty hot. But I guess hypothetically you could, maybe. I don't know.
Well, I have an infrared hothouse, which is a dry sauna.
Yeah.
So I got that because I had a critical illness, and so I bought, like, they're expensive. They're like $15,000. Mm-hmm. I ended up having so many amazing people around me supporting me through my journey on that. But so I didn't actually pay $15,000. I paid less than that. But
nice.
Regardless, it's in my home. It's like a tanning bed, but it's like a dry sauna, but it's designed for like autoimmunes and cancers and all kinds of things like that. And it's amazing. I love it. But yes, it gets very hot. So, because it's like a sauna, right? It sweats. It goes down like 9 layers of your skin to help heal. So it's amazing. I mean, I don't know if I would do it with the one you have, but infrared.
Yeah, you have to wear your safety boots and a high vis on the way in for sure, at least.
Oh yeah, and then like in the infrared hothouse, you can't put your eyes in there, and you can't wear any jewelry, right? So I have to be cognizant of that. So I stick my kids in the infrared hothouse that I have, or the soaky bed, and when they're sick, and they're better in like days, not weeks. So it's doing something, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay, quick question for you, I guess. Sorry, bear with me here. Let's just do that. Quick question for you, just in terms of, you know, the consulting side. I mean, what are you finding to be the challenges in terms of when you're dealing with customers who are looking to do asphalt stuff?
Like in general?
Yeah, just generally. I mean, like pricing always seems to be a thing. Scope of the work in terms of the impact. You know, if you're doing a repave,
Okay. No, that's understandable.
Or like the order of operations, because people typically want to put asphalt last, especially if roof things. I mean, if I had $1 for every time someone told me a roof project was more important, then you know, maybe I wouldn't be working right now. But you know, there's always kind of the order of operations too, which, you know, some people, obviously roofs matter, but for me, it's like if someone's going to go and fix a pothole for, you know, a couple $100 or whatever. Instead of waiting until it turns into a problem where they've got to go and cut it out and spend a few thousand or whatever, you know, that's something I always think that people should be kind of having more top of mind than necessarily you might find the clients have it naturally, right?
Okay, so in condo, nobody knows a lot about asphalt. They just don't. And so they don't understand that there are many different types of asphalt. They don't understand that there are different types for repair, different types for highway, different types for heavy load, different types. They don't understand. So they're just like, fix my road and get cold mix. And I'm like, ooh, that's just a Band-Aid. Like if that's like wintertime, you need this fit, like it's going to take off someone's hubcap. It's going to cause a problem. You just need something there now. Which normally I would say fill it with gravel before you use a cold pack on it. Yeah, I'd say just fill it with gravel. And then we'll deal with it in the summer and we'll deal with it properly. But that's a Band-Aid repair. And what happens is you have too many condo boards that want to just Band-Aid, 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 Band-Aid. And then what happens is they're also going in. So I find with condo boards, because they're volunteer basis, they don't have enough education, and they don't have enough understanding of how the trades work, and they always get schmoozed by some person who's like a pop-up, doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. If I had $1 for every time I walked onto a site that I had to fix with asphalt, I'd probably, I'd be a millionaire. So, but I'm not there yet.
We'd be golfing more.
Right? We'd be golfing more. So that's my biggest thing, is that they're not educated enough. I don't believe it's price as much as people think it is. It's more just nuisance, get it fixed. How do we get it fixed? What's the fastest way to get it fixed? And then when they are planning on doing an actual repair job or remediation job for it, what upsets me is that they get too quick about it. Like, when I walk onto a site and someone says, oh, they're going to come and do an overlay. Okay, well, have they talked about the grading issues? Have they talked
100%.
about... Yeah, like, have they talked about how this could exacerbate the grading issues? Have they talked about how they're going to fix it? Like, what are they doing? Like, if you're going to do an overlay, that's great, but have they walked you through the process of an overlay, what it costs, what are they using? Are they using a sealant? All these different questions I get them to ask, and they're like, I don't know. And I'm like, okay, but you just paid him $275,000. Why don't you know that?
I saw a train wreck overlay job earlier this year where, and the company who did it does claim that they've disclosed what what happened in advance to the client, but who knows? The client has a different story. But now, because the overlay is so high, the water's flowing from the roadway onto people's properties. Mm-hmm. And now they've called us to come fix it because we can do stuff like that. But, I just feel terrible when I come across these people who, have thought they've spent the money on the right things. And then suddenly they're spending more money because they, exactly to your point, didn't ask the right questions or didn't have a good idea of what was going to happen there. And maybe we're dealing with somebody, smooth talker type, who just wants to get that done, doesn't really care because they're not like, yeah. With us, we want to be dealing with condos every year. You know what I mean? Like, there's always going to be a new pothole. There's always going to be some hazard. We want to come fix that. So we're not happy. We're not here to try to just collect, 50 grand from somebody and never come back and, whatever. The company's been around. SmartFix has been around since 2011.
You want to be the go-to for anything and everything. That if they're 100%. Thinking about it, you need a quick fix. Okay, let's deal with this aspect and we'll come back. We'll circle back with you want to give people a plan so that there's an actual, fix, like a long-term fix, a long-term solution. So It's not that you can't go and do the quick little fixes or the quick little, Band-Aids, but you want them to understand that it's a Band-Aid. And these are the pros. Can take these costs into consideration for next year or for 2 years from down the road, so that you can do this properly. And I agree with that. And that's something that I do when I go to do my lunch and learns when I'm with property managers I have trivia, and I ask the property managers about building envelope and asphalt and what else is there? Restoration, because those are the big ticket items that come up in condos. They can be big or small, but they're the biggest nuisances for condo boards. Yeah. And I'm like, how much do you know as a property manager? And a lot of property managers don't know a lot. They know some, but they don't know a lot. And there's some of them that are like, there's recycled asphalt. I'm like, yes. And they're like, and you can buy it? I'm like, yes. Yeah. So there's just little things, right? That there's certain types of asphalt that you use closer to environmental, habitats. So, and I'm like, yes, there's lots of different types of asphalt. This is why we have professionals. And if professionals don't know more than they should about asphalt, they don't know what they're talking about. That. And that's the other thing, is that these people are really good talkers, but then they don't pay attention to their people on site. And that's a problem. Like, I get so nervous for people, and that's why I exist. And then when people are like, oh, Lisa, you're kind of expensive. I'm like, I'm a consultant that stops you from spending $275,000 on a botched job. That's my job.
100%. Yeah.
Right? So I'm a drop in the bucket, kind of like an engineer. Engineers are there to make sure the structures are done properly and that everything is done so that, things don't fall the fuck apart, for lack of a better term. So that's why an engineer exists, but they're a drop in the bucket compared to what the cost of the entire project is. So if someone like you comes onto a job and you say, okay, Lisa, this is going to cost $300,000. I'm like maybe $60,000 and everything's done properly. I know you're a reputable company because I vetted you. Mm-hmm. I went out, I looked at your sites, and that's the kind of person that I am. So when people say to me like, do you vet your contractors? I'm like, absolutely. Like, Chris, if you and I are going to run around and help each other do business, you better believe I'm going to go to some of your sites. I'm going to come to your facility. I'm going to look at your equipment. I've met some of your people. I know they're happy. So that's a good thing because, there's the people. If your people aren't happy, that speaks volumes of the company. Obviously, there's some sort of internal dynamic that's not going well. And your people were actually quite
totally.
So I don't know. I mean, Julian's really quiet, So
yeah, he's doing all the heavy lifting right now while I'm here doing this, So
yeah, well, he's ops guy.
I left him on site.
I'm teasing.
But he's having fun
because he's ops, right? An operation. Like I said to him when we were golfing, I was joking. I was like, I was an operations director. I'm like, you're basically the janitor.
Yeah, he's always cleaning up messes. Well, when there is one.
That's what it is. I'm like, he's like, yeah. I'm putting out fires. I'm like, oh, you're a firefighter. You're a firefighter today. He's like, yeah.
Well, I think he's spoiled today because we just bought ourselves a brand new milling machine.
Nice.
And so we actually had the whole crew. I mean, everybody was on site today at one point checking out what we're up to and just seeing the machine in action. There's like a lot with these condos. I mean, another thing is that you find a lot of them kind of like a concave kind of swale or what have you, depending on which way it's pointing or whatever. But in their drive aisles. And when these things get left and, no one's done crack fill or anything for a number of years, you can find that you kind of have like just so much cracking and whatnot that's down in that middle area or where the water's been sitting maybe. And that's why it's cracking as well.
Yeah.
And so for us to be able to come in and mill just provides like a very cost effective repair where we're doing like a 2 foot wide or a 4 foot wide or a 6 foot wide repair and running whatever it is, 20, 40, I don't know. Sometimes these things are like hundreds of feet long, right? And, we just got to make sure we're kind of pairing the solution with the client's needs. But anyway, Julian's off testing out the new equipment with the guys and the ladies and the whole team, and everyone's just having a great old time out there today. So hopefully the weather holds up.
We got to have some fun, especially when you get new equipment and everybody gets to go take it out and give it a whirl. Gotta do that.
Yeah, that's what people want to do, And investing in the business is key. I mean, one of the challenges right now that you might find with people who need large construction equipment is like a lot of this stuff comes from the States and with tariffs and whatnot, like in the FX where it is, we're seeing, higher costs for equipment and parts and maintenance. And so that's another reason why I think, it's going to be an interesting time kind of going forward in the construction biz in terms of who is able to continue, operating and playing because they have the balance sheet or the, revenues or whatever to invest and to put money into the business and make sure that they're there to just satisfy the client, So, and I mean, almost every business, I guess, can probably say this, but with, asphalt and with construction, you're kind of only as good as your last job. If you go in there and screw something up really bad and treat the customer badly, I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to hear about that, so
it's not wrong, but so here's my take on stuff like that, because people are uncontrolled variables, right? Because I have a safety background, it's something I always make a joke of. I'm like, people are uncontrolled variables. There's no control for them and they don't listen and they're the biggest hazard. But what I will say is that you could have a client for 10 years and they could be the happiest client. And then one thing goes wrong and then their review goes up and it's a 1-star review. But yet they didn't talk about the last 10 years they were happy with. So I always find that interesting. And then with me as a consultant, I'm not always about like shit happens. It's just part and parcel of the whole thing. Like it does. Things go sideways, schedules get screwed up, people get pissed off, whatever the case may be. For me, it's all about the recovery. How are you going to fix this? It's happened. Can't take it back. So how you recover from it is what speaks volumes, and it's where I will pull my clients into tow with me when they're mad and they're like, I'm going to take to Facebook or I'm going to take to reviews. And I'm like, we're not going to do that. We have to give them the opportunity to fix it. And we're going to see what they're going to do with it. If they don't take the opportunity, take to all of the social medias you want. But until they give us a reason to do that, which they haven't, they made a mistake. There was a mistake happened, whatever. You got to give them an opportunity. And that's the biggest thing for me because like I said, shit happens all the time. So if every time we ran and whined about something that went wrong, I mean, like, I guess that's why social media exists. Half people do. But,
yeah, for sure.
but I pay attention to the recovery because there are a lot of contractors out there, but there are only very few that are really good at their jobs, and they're good all the way around with their client retention, with their staff, with their product, with their procedures. They're only, there's very few and far between that have all of it figured out. But the ones that are good with skill and internal dynamics are the ones that I look at when people are like, well, we've got 3 traits here. And like let's say there's not one of them that has, all of the components I mentioned. I'm looking at, is everybody happy? And do they have the skill? Because if they have the skill and everybody's happy, everything else is kind of like a system. As a safety officer, I'll bring in my safety packages and be like, you fall under this. Here's all your JHAs. You do it. Like, those things can kind of be mitigated. You know what I mean? Like, you can source that, like, especially with someone like me can. I don't think there's too many people that would be like, oh, let me put you into my safety program.
I think you just hit the nail on the head with all of those things, right? Like, you can tell if they've treated their staff well because people have been at the company for a long time. Our most senior technicians have been there, I think, since the year after the company was founded back in 2011. So clearly that, they're sticking with us for a reason, The safety and procedure stuff is so critical because you can't operate on these sites unless you have that, So we do work for, some large companies that have very strict policies about the things that, people are doing for them. But needless to say, like, we're talking like double hearing protection, double face protection on stuff when you're, say cutting the asphalt or, blow packing to clean the area. Cause like they don't want people's hearing being damaged, And so if you can't adhere to that and you don't have people who are trained and understanding of the different client kind of expectations, then that's problematic as well. And then if someone isn't treating their people well and not taking care of their safety and / people and customers with that stuff, then that's when you are dealing with some type of train wreck operation typically. And you're usually not even finding that out until you're seeing the end product, which is then, horribly wrong type thing usually, right?
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Safety is a big thing, and it's also a culture, right?
Yeah.
I've had lots of safety talks, and when I say that, I mean like on my podcast as well. I've had safety people come on. Elizabeth, she's with Safety Supply. Yep. Safety Comply. And she's out here in Calgary, and she's a safety officer, and that's her business, and she does really well, and she's smart as a whip, and her and I sometimes will knock heads because she is a lot more of the now legislation, and I'm kind of still stuck a little bit in the older legislation where I'm like, what do you mean you don't have common sense? What do you mean common sense doesn't exist? Common sense exists. And she's like, oh, no, Lisa, that means that you'd say that we all had the same experiences. And I'm like, everybody knows red means stop. And she made a really good point one day. I was actually really impressed with her. She goes, red means stop because everybody knows it means stop, which means everybody passes it down and teaches it. So it's actually not common sense. It's learned because everybody has to learn it. So your parents who know that teach their children, then teach their children, and that's how it goes down. So then it then becomes an idea of common sense because most people know it. And I was like, okay, although that makes a lot of sense, there's still an element of common sense, which means that it is common to most people to know this, right? So when someone walks through a barricade,
which happens
a lot more than people know. When people walk through a barricade that's, been implemented there because there's a large excavation and they fall into the excavation or they twist their ankle or they become injured, there's a part of me that's like, you're an idiot. What part of danger, please go around, please utilize other sidewalk, big orange fencing, like where in there did you think I'm just going to walk through this? This doesn't apply to me. Like, where did that like?
Or drive through. They love driving through those things too,
right? And I'm just like, the entitlement is strong,
Yeah.
like because even city, like I've seen people like blow past like sign holders for the city of Calgary and city of Edmonton. I've seen them blow past them. And there is limits. Like there, you can, like if a cop is there, you're gonna get your ass handed to you. Like some cops will take your license for 24 hours.
Yeah.
You know, so and they're just, or they'll boot your vehicle if you're going too fast. But I've seen people blow past, and I'm just like, I would hate to be working highway. I'd hate to be working roads right now. Like this is awful. You know, all they got to do is stand there and hold a sign, but they're actually putting themselves in danger every single friggin' day because they're dealing with traffic. They're dealing with people that operate vehicles, and everyone's different. And some people are like, I don't have time to wait, so fuck you, I'm going. And it's like, oh, okay, well.
You wouldn't believe. So we're kind of lucky because not lucky because we'd be doing the city of Edmonton a favor if we were providing service to them, but they choose to fix their own potholes their own way. But luckily, we're on private property 90% of the time or 95% of the time. You know, the thing that is remarkable is the stuff you're talking about, where I've seen people on the highway with pylons trapped under their cars because they've cut through the thing and have taken stuff out. It's crazy. That happens on private property too, and like, it's really keeping people mindful of the hazards and the traffic hazards, and their inability really to control these people and just to be kind of like proactively looking out for themselves, or if they see someone coming down the drive aisle to kind of make eye contact, make sure that they see the signage because like you just said, they somehow choose to not see it quite often. But no, I mean, those hazards are out there. They're remarkable. And I think it falls on, me and my role as a general manager to make sure that our staff are going home safely at the end of the day. So, I like to be checking out sites, checking out what's going on, seeing what the environment is. Because some days you can just feel it in the air, right? When people are kind of, it's a full moon or something. I don't know. But
it's true.
So.
No, it's true. And it's
I think it's one of the hazards of the biz.
Yeah. No, and it's good that you're like that, Chris, because you're sitting in your hierarchy, where you are in your hierarchy is amazing that you have that attitude towards safety, because a lot of people don't have that attitude towards safety when they're sitting in the managerial positions and the higher and the executive positions. They're like, man, it costs us too much money. It's hurting our bottom line. Just hurry up and get it done. We're on schedule. We don't have time for this shit. And I'm like, you need to make time. You need to make time, because we're not talking about burning into your line. Your line is going to be a lot more burnt if something happens to someone in your company.
100%. Yeah. I mean, you can be shut down by OH&S, to start, let alone, So to me, I mean, and I think that, we've kind of touched on this in maybe a couple of points earlier, but like the long game is really where people need to be looking in these businesses. And I look around, you look at these big guys, like the huge ones or whatever, PCL and Ellis Dawn, and, they've been around for decades, and that's, why they continue to get business and are at the top of the charts and in the the revenue ranks. Right.
Yeah.
And that's why we get called on things, because, we're looking at a kind of an awkward situation. They put in a stormwater management system, and, we did an inspection. We have a partner who does crawler cam inspections, and, we did some looking around under there to inspect this thing for them. And, the thing just wasn't put together properly. Luckily, the system itself is holding together, but the compaction wasn't done properly either. That's given way. And, obviously your first step would be to go claim against the existing person who's provided the service. But if they're out of business, they're fly by night or whatever, then you're paying again, And so I think the one thing for me is like, I face those same pressures, right, in terms of the stakeholders who own the company, right? I've got to answer to them in terms of profitability and whatnot. But exactly to what you just said. It's like you can't, looking at a few, dollars on a project is one thing, but if you have somebody injured or some type of damage to the customer's property or whatever, then you're looking at substantial impact to profits that is detrimental to all types of people who are counting on us to be successful every day. So
So this is like, and this, so there's two things that I'll say. So on one hand, if it always comes down to money, it's like, if you get too many claims, your WCB rates go through the roof.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you lose your core or whatever. I mean,
you can lose core. Absolutely. Yeah. You can lose core because then they're going to send in an auditor. They're going to send in their auditor, right? Yeah. They're not going to be like, oh, sure, well, you can just do it. No, they're going to force you to, they're going to say, here's a list, pick one. Yeah. And we're going to send this person out because you're not doing something right. Because then you're going to, and they can do it pretty much at any given time. Now, of course, if you have core, it's every 2 years internal, 1 year external. But I mean, they are an agency that can turn around and say, no, we're coming in. Like, you have way too many injuries on your site, and you're supposedly core certified. Like, something's amiss here, right? Mm-hmm. But then there's WCB that your rates can go up. Your WCB can even be canceled on you because you have too many claims. You can be shut down by OH&S, which is going to cost you, loss of time.
Potential criminal charges for the company as well. You can take
criminal charges and fines. But I think my one favorite one that I use, because you have to be a complete and utter, like, callous and asshole person to even be like this. But I've gone to a boss and said, would you like to go and tell, so-and-so's mother that they're not coming home? Because that's your job. It's not a cop's job. It's your job. You own the company. So Do you want to go ring her doorbell and let her know that you allowed her child to be put in a position where now he's not or she's not coming home? And a lot of them are like, no, like, why is that my job? And I'm like, you're the owner. Mm-hmm. I'm like, and nobody else technically has to take that job unless you have, like a communications person. I don't know many trades companies that have communications people, unless
if they have a communications problem, it's because they've had some problems in the past, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
We need someone to finesse this for us. Please put it in. Please put it in your good talk. We've made a lot of mistakes. But it's funny that you use the Ellis Don and the PCL, because I say that a lot too. Like the big boys, they just do it. It's like, which is funny to me because I sit there and I'm like, for companies that want to model after, there's a lot of companies out there that are like, I want to be the next PCL. I want to be the next Ellis Don. I want to be the next big boy, right? And I'm like, okay, well then take notes on what they're doing and do it, because there's lots of work to go around. Totally. Ellis Don did our exchange over here. They did they did a fantastic job. So they had a set timeline, which is funny because a lot of people like to bitch about roads. Yeah. But we have a so I'm in Airdrie, and we had a bridge and like an overpass. Yep. It was created by Ellis Don, and they said it would be done in a year. It was actually, they actually not only hit their timeline, we got it before. So nice. They opened it before, like they did a really great job. Now, the only thing is that you can either go into Calgary or you can come in from Calgary, but you can't go to Edmonton and you can't come in from Edmonton. So the highway only comes in and goes out one way. Yeah. Right, on the interchange. So, or on the bridge or whatever you want to call it, the ramp. Right. So we only got 2 ramps coming in where most people have 4. So that I'm sure will happen eventually at some point, but right now it's like, because that would be amazing. Because when I come in from Edmonton, I have to take Yankee Valley, and I'd really like to take 40th if I could. So like, Ellis Don, come on.
Like crazy. I mean, coming out of Calgary in the evenings is just tough.
It can be. I
think one thing, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe PCL is like employee owned, and for us, right, we there is, like I said earlier, an art as well as the science of doing infrared. I mean, you have to have skill, and so when I think of like technicians off the top of my head who I know put in a lot of hours for us and do a lot of good work for us, we couldn't succeed without them, and the work that they're doing and their ability to do that is really, key to our success. And so, I've worked in a lot of, bigger companies over the years and whatnot, and, key relationship management kind of things. And it's still, there's always this saying at some of these places that like everyone can be replaced, and that's true to an extent, but, it's far better to keep the good people that you have and take care of them. And, if that costs you a bit of money, then it does. And in the long run, everybody wins, and it's a win-win for people as opposed to trying to make things like a win-lose, which typically blows up pretty quick.
I actually hate the phrase win-win, I actually hate the phrase everybody's replaceable. I hate it. I think it's the most disgusting thing people can say, because I can tell you right now, when people say anybody's replaceable, you're basically saying that money talks and bullshit walks. And although there might be some elements of truth to that, you're basically saying that people have a dollar bill in their head. So, oh, Mary didn't make it in. Oh, she died in a car accident. That's too bad. Send some flowers. Okay, let's promote within. Like, I understand that a company has to run, but that to me is disgusting. Because if you had,
I agree with you, but I think when I talk about it, it's more of like, this person's good work generates this much revenue for the business.
100%, yeah.
We can obviously get somebody else to do that, and it's going to generate some level of revenue for the business. But the cost, like, especially these days, I don't want to get too far off piste here, but like these days, you put out an ad to hire somebody, and you've got just like a disgusting number of CVs that are coming in, resumes that are coming in, with people that are not qualified at all and often have all types of issues, and that's why they're currently not already working at a good company. We do find some great people out there, but like my point is more that the amount of work and the amount of time required to go through that and to go through that hiring process, sure, everybody's replaceable, but it's a pain in the ass to do it, if you excuse my French there,
No, it's all good. We're uncensored. But my point is that I hate that phrase, because there are moments where it makes sense to me, but in general, there are some really amazing employees that you can't replace quickly. It's almost detrimental to replace them at all. And
I agree.
You know what
totally.
I mean? So when people make that comment, because it's such a generalized comment, I'm always like, no. I appreciate that companies need to continue to work and whatever and this and that. And there are some companies out there that take that very seriously. If something happens to somebody in their team, they kind of make sure that everybody's, kind of pitched around them and whatever. But I agree with you. People nowadays pad their resumes, don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They're coming into your companies. You're wasting your time. What a lot of people don't understand is companies, it's money and time to hire and have parting of ways, because you have to hire them. So you have to take time out of your day to go through the resumes, weed through which ones are okay, then do all of your onboarding, training. And then if that doesn't work out, because the guy or girl only lasts 2 weeks or 2 months or 6 months, you're doing it all over again.
Yeah, exactly. And it's
right. It's
the time and the cost to do it is wild. And yeah, I was going to go off about how all these hiring sites tell you they can save your time and save your cost by doing this and that, but it's really no matter what they're claiming, it still takes a ton of time to do. So two things. So you're correct. PCL is 100% employee owned, which is very cool. Very cool, PCL. The other thing is that so I'm doing a lot of networking events in Calgary, and there's one I go to. He's an amazing, incredible guy. His name's Adam Woodward, and he puts on these coffee networking like once a month, twice a month kind of thing. And we all meet down. I hate where we go though. He goes to the Beltline, and I hate the Beltline. I'm just like, I don't want to drive downtown Calgary. I'm not scared of it. I just hate it. So yeah. But it's pretty far for you. I mean, it's a trip.
It is far for me, but at the same time, the drive doesn't bother me. Downtown doesn't bother me, but when there's a lot of construction and a lot of stupid, it's frustrating. Parking. So I mean, parking's a pain in the ass, especially because I drive a half ton, so that's a pain in the ass. But yeah, but he has this networking event, and so anyways, my point is that I got to meet some pretty amazing people, and so Greg and Veronica are headhunters, and they're Headhunter Canada, and they are amazing. They both started this company, both super different people, like in their own way. Like when you talk to them, there's a lot of similarities, but they are very different people. Like Greg played pro basketball. He's like 7 feet tall. I was bugging. I'm always like, oh, hey, little guy. And then someone's like, did you want a booth? Because then they're like looking at him. I'm like, oh yeah, it's okay. He'll just pretzel it up. It's fine. And but he's such a good guy. He's so easygoing and he's a nice guy. But the nice thing I like about headhunters, and this is where I think more companies should look into a headhunter. I don't know how much they cost. I don't know, but I know that for my company,
either,
I would get a headhunter, and I'll tell you why. Because my other girlfriend Sabrina also does it as well. She's with a company as well. But so these guys are amazing, and what I like about them is that they're keeping it more hands-on client-wise. They want to know that not only the person they're placing, but the client they're placing them with always has contact with them. It's not like, okay, we're done. It's how's it going? Is everything okay? Are you happy? On both sides. And that was something I really admired about what they were doing. I was like, that's really friggin' cool that you're going to stay in contact. Because a lot of people are like, okay, well, I've done my job. You wanted person A, I brought person A, and I brought 3 of the person A's, and here you go. But headhunters, their jobs are a little harder. They have to actually dig. They have to creep the socials. They have to, go and ask, like they have to actually go and find out, because they're being paid to make sure that this person isn't an idiot.
100%. Or you hope so anyway, right?
We all hope so. Like, you can't be like, oh, I found a job on Indeed and my buddy. Like, we're over that.
Yeah. Well, let's touch on Calgary for a minute. So for us, I mean, so one thing, the founder and has this view that we should be doing more business in Edmonton than we are. I mean, we are doing business. Everything's fine here, but he's like, we should be growing here. I want to see more growth here, but with all these acquisitions that are happening in the property management space, and with the large REITs and whatnot that we provide service to, I think more and more people are looking for kind of a uniform product in multiple jurisdictions. And so, Calgary, we're going to be offering service, full time for next season, starting in the spring. We are doing a bit of stuff down there right now. And, I think I'm going to be probably seeing you hopefully at this, the construction show in October, like the 3rd and 4th, I think it is. The Alberta Condo Construction Expo or whatever it's called.
Are you talking about
it's
ACR?
the CCI South does it. Yeah, ACR.
ACR. I think it's the 24th of October. Yes, you'll see me there. I'm a sponsor.
Yeah. So looking forward to coming down there and kind of meeting the people and seeing who's down there in terms of, it's a very tight-knit community. I guess maybe we can bring this back to where we started, and that's like condos and servicing condos. And
you want to get in with property managers. Sorry to cut you off. You want to get in with property managers. So I could always, talk to a few of my property management firms right now that are doing golfing in September. Did you want to come to Calgary and do some golf and meet some people?
Oh, we'll see about that. Maybe we can take that offline. But no, certainly I agree. Property managers are critical to our business. But my point was more of that these people want the same service in different jurisdictions. They know that in Edmonton, they can get us to do repairs on parking lots, and that the client is going to be their end clients are going to be happy. That the product's going to be good. The service is going to be good. So to me, the way I see growth for this business in the future is just being in these other jurisdictions. And, maybe it doesn't have to be like a full construction suite. Like, we don't have to be doing, full paving and everything in every single jurisdiction, but we should be doing our patented infrared process in every jurisdiction that we're operating in, because that's what the clients are, know us for, and that's what they want to see. So, so I'm quite excited to be going down to Calgary next season to be doing this. It's the Condo Expo here in Edmonton's in May, so that's a bit better timing for us. But it'll be good to get down there and see everyone and see. I think it's kind of a tight knit community, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I've noticed at the Edmonton Expo, it's you see the familiar faces, and it's kind of handy for us too, where say we need somebody else to provide some service on a project that we get from a customer. We need to be able to tell a customer, hey, you can call these people. Usually the members of CCI, have kind of been around for, long enough. It's sort of like a mini vetting process, right, in terms of that community. And it's just great fun to see everybody on, whether it's the Friday drinks at the Edmonton one, or I don't know if there's something down there. I've obviously got to get my schedule together for the end of October there, but I'm quite excited to come down and see everyone and kind of meet the people and get it's kind of like the champagne cork going. I hope for kicking off the new venture down south, and then beyond. Obviously, I love Alberta, but there's a big country. Canada's a huge country with a lot of bad weather. We're destroying roads and parking lots everywhere we go. Right? So, yeah, I'd love to be in all these jurisdictions, but again, making sure we're delivering the consistent service, making sure we've got team members who are trained properly on how to do this, have the knowledge and the skill, and the managerial infrastructure and the systems and all those things that we talked about. Once you get out of, there's so many different jurisdictions in Canada. I know the current government's talking about trying to harmonize some things between provinces. It would be great to see a bit more of that, because I know it's like WorkSafe BC is different than WCB, different than Alberta Construction Association, all these types of things. They probably do things differently in Saskatchewan. I don't know, but I'd assume that as a base case. And so, the world's kind of our oyster, as long as Mother Nature's continuing to provide this tailwind of destroying asphalt every winter for us,
Okay, I know, I agree. And there's other Quebec roads are awful.
I believe it. If we should parler de français, well, we should get a Quebec City office going or something. In Montreal,
Allez au Montréal. Allons-y.
Let's allons-y to Montreal and get une autre branche functioning. Where's the producer? We need to get that edited. Yeah. So Lisa, this has been fun. Thank you so much. My phone's kind of blowing up, so I don't really want to be that person that jumps out of the airplane.
We're going to wrap up. And thank you for being on with me. I super appreciate you, Chris. And I look forward to having you come down to Calgary, and we'll make sure we get you what you need, okay?
Okay. Lisa, thank you so much for your help. This has been great. I hope anyone who's taken the time to listen to us has found some value.
I appreciate that. Hang tight for 1 sec. Okay, everybody, thanks so much for joining us for this episode. I hope to see you guys next episode. You guys can always reach out and get any information you require about any of my guests if you're looking for any of their services. So Lisa at lpmenterprises.net. As always, don't do anything crazy.